Do you know yachting was an Olympic sport?
It's too easy to cheat.
How do you cheat in yachting?
Simple, you stick a small motor under the hull. They never check.
Don't you think they'd be a little suspicious when one boat wins by 16 hours?
NBC had the Olympics, and Warren Littlefield wanted to sort of take advantage of the Olympics as a kind of platform for the show. And Larry was just not really in the mood to do that. And he said, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. And so, again, it gave me an opportunity to be ambitious and to explore and experiment. And the idea of like a 3-part episode that would actually be completed with the opening of the next season really interested me.
Season 4, and starting with the trip, and then getting into many, many episodes that season, and from that point on, became the thing about we weren't going to shoot shows on the set. We weren't going to be tied into that set anymore. We were going to get outside. We were going to do shows without audiences. We were going to do chunks of shows without audiences.
When Seinfeld started cranking out 30 scenes and 20 swing sets, and the massive amounts of exterior shooting that went on, and stunts, and it really was cutting edge.
I think everybody was feeling the oats of going, now we got a show. Now we got a show, let's really bust it up a little bit.
In the trip episode where we were in Los Angeles, we could actually take a car out onto a Los Angeles street and shoot a scene rather than faking it in the studio. And that was a lot of fun. It was like really making a little movie.
The trip was fun because the show, the characters went to L.A. and they were certainly, you know, affected by the L.A. atmosphere, and that is different from their little small life. They went into like this, it was kind of a bigger canvas.
That was a very busy show. Kind of an out there show. I remember we were shooting up in the hills and a lot of that kind of location work.
And we had locations and we were jumping around, and you know, Julia was having her baby, and even though she wasn't here, there was a real excitement about that.
It bothered me enormously not being in the opening episodes, but I had no choice. I was swollen at home with a new baby, so, but yeah, that totally bothered me, and I wanted to be a part of the program and the party.
You know, it's so nice when it happens good.
The origin of the line, "It's so nice when it happens good," is my first Tonight Show. When I came off stage, I had a good show, and it was a very nervous, you know, tension-packed event in the life of a comedian. And Fred DeCordova, the legendary producer of The Tonight Show, came over to me, and he put his arm around me as we were walking off the set, and he said, "It's so nice when it happens good." And I told that story because it was just a strange kind of syntax and kind of fatherly, it was like Jewish Hollywood Torah or something. I don't know what it was, what it meant.
You're under arrest for first-degree murder, the death of Miss Chelsea Lang.
When we got into, you know, Kramer being a murder suspect, I started to go, well, okay, we're getting into the wacky a little bit here. We're leaving the world we started in. And I noted it at the beginning of season 4 without much concern, but it was a note. It became a concern for me as we moved on. But at that point, that was my only note of it, was that most people aren't friends with someone who's accused of murder. You know, we may be reinventing ourselves here.
I don't know. I always liked when when we went a little far afield. That was kind of a fun. That seemed to work well for us a lot of times when we were kind of didn't know what to do, had nothing to do. Someone had, you know, in desperation, and you lunge for some crazy idea just for something to do. And okay, so there's a mass murderer, and was it the Smog Strangler or something? And what, they thought that Kramer might have been the Smog Strangler? I don't know. I love that stuff.
Jerry and I had been through this experience together of developing this pilot and all that, and Jerry was playing himself on the show. So it's conceivable that the Jerry on our show could be asked by NBC to do a pilot.
When it was presented that season 4 was going to have an arc, and that the arc was going to be the creation of the Jerry show, I thought we had taken a step in the wrong direction. Knew it would be funny. I knew it would be funny, but I did think, okay, we're on a high. It wasn't a high horse because we weren't quite yet the mega hit, but it was very self-congratulatory in a way, and again, not in this world of stuff that everybody could relate to. Until we started doing it, and then the minute Bob Balaban showed up, I went, I'm wrong. There's so many things that I thought about the series, and I said categorically, you can't do that. It's just wrong. I was wrong. In each and every case, I was just wrong.
What have you two come up with?
Well, we've thought about this in a variety of ways, but the basic idea is I would play myself. Go ahead.
I think I can sum up the show for you with one word. Nothing. Nothing? Nothing. What does that mean? The show is about nothing.
In that 4th season, we were to meet Russell Dalrymple, and he was the president of NBC, and that was played by actually a good friend of mine, Bob Balaban, who just seemed to delight in playing the persnickety and kind of silent but deadly officious little network guy.
I never thought I resembled Warren, except for the fact that he's fairly quiet, he's kind of low-key. He has bright red hair, I don't, so I didn't really have to be like him. And I did see him around on the set, and it was kind of funny. I later on played Warren Littlefield on an HBO movie called The Late Shift, in which we really did try to look like our characters somewhat.
George Shapiro had called me and said that, they're considering having you play you, meaning me. And fortunately, cooler heads prevailed, and they needed an actor, and they got an actor by the name of Kevin Page. And in rehearsal, was playing the part of the NBC executive as a very pushy, sort of aggressive person. And Larry David allegedly went up to him and said, no, don't play it pushy. You have to say these lines as if you truly believe everything you're saying, like the NBC executive we really work with.
First of all, that was a terrific show.
Oh, thank you very much.
And basically, I just wanted to let you know that we've been discussing you at some of our meetings, and we'd be very interested in doing something.
I'm really glad to meet you, and we really liked your show. And I remember Michael Richards hitting me on the back and just laughing off camera as we're watching this run-through. And I then had a picture taken with Kevin Page, both of us pointing at each other. And about a week later, I was in New York at Saturday Night Live, and a couple of the people on Saturday Night Live, knowing full well that that wasn't in fact me in the Seinfeld episode, they said to me, "You were very good last night, very good, very funny."
One of my favorite characters on the show ended up being Heidi Swedberg, Susan, and we were NBC executives together, and then, much to my surprise, it's so funny, I had no idea that the seeds of romance were blooming between her and Jason. I mean, who would know?
Heidi appears in one of the episodes where we're pitching to NBC, and then I had the line after I had clearly blown it in the office, and Jerry's, just reaming me out. I said, "I think the girl liked me." That became the impetus for the great relationship of George's Live.
I kind of overheard that Susan was going to be a character who would recur, and I had misunderstood because I thought they had said that she was going to be Kramer's girlfriend. So in the first few episodes I did, there's the episode where I meet Jerry and George, and I'm like, hi, and then I go over to Jerry's house and I meet Kramer. And in the first episode I did, I went, hi.
You remember Susan from NBC?
Of course. How are you?
Fine. Good to see you.
This is Kramer.
Hello.
I see.
Kramer, are you drinking that milk?
I thought that was a strange way to begin an attraction, having someone throw up on you, but I thought, well, I've fallen in love with worse.
Should have known better. I should have seen it coming. I didn't see it coming.
I think she saw it coming.
It wasn't until about halfway through the season I realized, you know what? I think you're George's girlfriend.
Personally, for me as Newman, oddly enough, the ticket, for some reason, is one of my episodes that I like the most. That Michael and I were sitting on this bench outside the courtroom, having a quiet plotting session, which I'd never seen in any other episode, and the courtroom stuff carried out in Inherit the Wind fashion was one of my best times.
Your Honor, Your Honor, Your Honor.
That's enough, Mr.
Your Honor, Mr. Kramer is obviously very distraught.
I'm distraught.
No, shut up! I demand a recess so that I can take him outside and help him regain his composure.
That'll be $75.
What's the matter with you, jerk? We had it all worked out.
I'm very much aware of what team comedy is about. I have a great respect for Laurel and Hardy and for Abbott and Costello and the Ritz brothers and the Marx brothers, and I know what goes into team comedy and the give and take and the wonderful timing and when it works, God, it's such a ride. And Newman, Wayne Knight and I, we had great rides together.